gotta leave it to the professionals.
Blessed by Bundy, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been goated when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Call her Era Lord. Call me Levi, playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like LeBron James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. Refuse not falling for the FOMO. Listening to Coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gon' stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum NFTs. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I got a shout out
Started
to
off with a
Body.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Breaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in suits. Yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, miny, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. Had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the drive with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin, where we dive into all things crypto, NFTs, Web3, and cutting-edge technology. Remember, nothing here is financial advice. Early-stage tech can be exceptionally volatile and risky. So grab your coffee and join Cap and Steve for today's conversation.
Welcome to the future.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain GM. Thanks so much for joining us. Everybody done so, do us a favor, drop us a GM in the chat down below, then head up top, smash that like, repost, and bookmark on today's space. We greatly appreciate it. Not only does it help warm up the algo, it's going to help warm me up. I am frigid, too cold, and maybe a little raspy. I think those might have been like the second and third words I've spoken this morning. I obviously way past my bedtime, and took Duke on a walk. Freezing. It must be like negative 47 degrees here in Florida, and I am still waking up. So I'm like halfway through my first cup of coffee. We'll be chugging this and then finishing off this coffee pot. But yeah, help warm me up. And the show this morning, those likes, reposts, and bookmarks are greatly appreciated. You also find up top the link to the abstract chat as well as YouTube and the X video feed. As always, I'm Cap, no co-host today, but we are we're gonna have some fun. Never any financial advice in the show. Crypto's risky, NFTs are risky, meme coins exceptionally risky. It can all go to zero to most knows. Please don't put any money in you can't afford to lose. Know that I'll hold tokens I talk about from time to time here in the show. I am not a financial advisor. Certainly not your financial advisor. Don't join for that. Just join for some fun, some information, a little bit of education along the way. And I see Payne and Von Frunton going back and forth in the YouTube chat. Surprised we haven't had a Alabama or Indiana take yet, but good luck to the football fans. I'm excited because day one, 2026, I said I'm not one for New Year's resolutions, but I am locked the F in. I've got no football to care about on the college football side. My best ball seasons are over. I shouldn't say that. I'm definitely a degenerate. So I don't know who we're kidding. I've got, I don't know, probably 20 or so playoff best ball drafts already loaded. And that's what I'll be doing today. Instead of watching much college football, I wasted my time last night. And instead of watching the Stranger Things finale, I watched Ohio State embarrass themselves on national television. Two 30-second rant, and then we'll move on. It would be a lot more fun if Steve was on here today to talk through this, but he may have actually faded the show today if he was still hosting after last night. I know he was pretty disappointed, but I said it last year. I know he won a national championship. I'm not saying it's the worst thing that happened to Ohio State, but that run they went on last year in the playoffs probably bought Day another 5 years at least. And I just don't think he's a good coach. He needs a good play caller, that's for sure. I understand why they made the move with Hartline, as he had one. So if you're not a college football fan or not a Ohio State fan, their offensive coordinator, Brian Hartline, was the wide receiver coach. The wide receivers are amazing. He's done a great job. I felt they'd done a good job calling plays this year. And anyways, he took the head coaching job at University of South Florida. He's still there, but was like, he has this 1 foot out the door, and it was kind of a distraction. So Day decides, hey, I'm gonna call plays, the head coach that is. And I just don't think he's a good coach. I don't think he's a good play caller. He's a great recruiter, but yeah, just I don't even know what to say. Like, hand it to Miami. They outplayed Ohio State. Ohio State made mistakes. You can't make big mistakes in games like that. And I know he's young. I'm not putting it on saying, but he's not an elite quarterback. I don't think. I don't even know if he'll play on Sundays. He like just floats the ball so many times. Like, well, throw it. Anyways, before the pick six, he had a wide open tight end. He hits them. It's a 7-7 game. Instead, he floats out that screen pass, and 14-0. It was a tough comeback from there. They played decent after that, but the play calling, the fact they still use the same kicker, who's, I know, like, statistically wise, he's not the worst kicker of all time in college football, but if you look at like big game kicks and clutch kicks, I can't think of a single big kick the guy ever made. And I can't understand how, in today's world with NIL, and even without NIL, Ohio State's a prestigious program. I would say I can't understand how they don't have a better kicker, but they do. They have a better kicker on the bench, and for some reason, Day continues to go with this guy who just misses everything. Anyways, disappointing outcome, disappointing finish to a year where I think even non-Ohio State fans would probably agree, like, most talented team in college football, probably by a good margin. They're going to have 5-6 first-round draft picks next year. The defense is loaded. You've got the best wide receiver, maybe two of the best wide receivers in the nation, and just I don't know, got out coached, got outplayed. Kind of hope Miami wins it now, and I also am rooting for complete carnage. I will say this: I'm not making excuses. Ohio State going to get outplayed. I do think the format is, they need to make some changes to college football playoff, and I think the biggest thing is these teams that are on buys. It's just too long. They give them like a month off. It's not. They should have moved everything up a week. And yeah, like last year, all the teams with buys all lost. This year, the first one loses. I kind of wouldn't mind seeing all the teams with buys lose again, and you would think it would force a change. It's a bad. And not only do these teams lose, I think in every instance, the teams on buys all got down to like 2 touchdown deficits in like the first half or first quarter, maybe. Yeah. Anyways, no, that's enough football. More than I was planning on talking about this morning. I am excited for 2026. Happy New Year, everyone. Hope you all had a much more enjoyable night than Ohio State fans did. I actually had a fun night. I am I'm accepting and proud of becoming a honorary Latino, and man, they love their holidays. Just a fun bunch. That's all I'll say. But enjoyed the evening, had a lot of fun, and did not sing any karaoke. I got to witness some karaoke did not sing any myself, but it was a fun show. And I have, is Diego out there yet? Diego, I did score some pan de jamon. Actually got some at the Super Bravo, the Latin supermarket, like the Latin Publix from their bakery. They had one, so I wasn't able to make it to the actual bakery where I got the prior ones. But yeah, we scored a pan de jamon today, and I'm in timeout or Von Frun's in timeout, Payne? Speaking of Payne, I know we've made some, commented about some changes we're making. First one here, you see a little fancy new change the color theme. We'll probably maybe do like a full rundown at some point. Let me show you this real quick. Little logo adjustment. Nothing major. A little soft, just starting to evolve. And really excited where we're at. Really excited where we're heading. I think it's going to be a fun year for many, and I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be. No, I'm just tired, man. I don't hit the Benjamin anymore. Pre-show. Actually, that's probably what I need. I'm going to spice up my coffee here in a second. That will get things going, I think. But let me say this, because 2026 is the year of Coffee with Captain. And not only Coffee with Captain, Cooking with Captain. I think we got a few things we need to solve for this show first. We got a few things we need to get done and level up. And then as soon as we're leveled up, we will I think we're going to do Cooking with Captain. Maybe not be Cooking with Captain, but some spin-off shows could be fun. And I'm curious, Payne and I were talking, have we ever talked about the origin of Coffee with Captain? Like, why Coffee with Captain? Chat, let me know. Have we ever had that conversation? Like, where it came from? Any of those thoughts? Why I'm doing this? I got a couple of things. I'm going to ask you a little bit. Lighter show. I'm not expecting. It's 8 a.m. on a New Year's Eve, and a lot of people are out late. And last thing they are thinking about is hanging out with us, as they're probably nursing a hangover. I couldn't imagine. I feel like I'm hungover. I'm not, but I feel like I'm hungover back in like when I was like 21, 22 and didn't really get hangovers. I'm definitely dragging. So we'll power through this. I am grateful to be here. You guys will feed me some energy, and we would like to take down Sun Frunton, but or Von Sutton. We're going with Von Sutton. I think Sun Frunton hits better, but you're the dad. So, but do give us a like, a subscribe, a comment, big hugs, tiny kisses, and it's just excited for many things. I am trying to get my thoughts together and which excitement to share. I did pin up top, courtesy of my copywriter Von Frunton. I did pin up top 40 incoming TGEs in 2026. I think they'll all hit in 2026. There's a chance some of them punt for another cycle, but we're going to talk through some of those. I'm curious. Take a look at that list. Is there any not listed there that we know is coming or expect is coming? Anything we should add to? Anything we should add to this upcoming TGE list? Because while some very hyped, base, abstract, OpenSea, backpack. I thought backpack already TGE'd. Backpack is the it didn't, but it's the Mad Lads, right? Is that correct? Mad Lads team is the builders of backpack. And what is it, a wallet that they're building? I should know more about this, but I just never got into that Mad Lads ecosystem. Probably long overdue. So here would be another ask this morning. If anyone knows anyone in the Mad Lads ecosystem, would like to get that team on. Continuing to look through this list here, Mega ETH. I've got it pinned up top and pulled up on the screen for those watching the video. Mega ETH, MetaMask, Zama. Not familiar with that one. Polymarket. I don't know if they'll TGE this year or not. Phantom, Billions. I also thought we had the Billions TGE. I'm just taking this for face value and believe it hasn't happened. Bungie, Quirk, you fell off the stage. If you want to come back up, happy to get you in here. Even if you wanted to hit on some college football or something I've already moved past, you're welcome to. Ethos, Mindo AI, Katana, Wallchain, Rainbow, Brevis, Citria, More Markets, Hey, Elsa AI, Banter, Kindred, Edgen, IDOS, Zeet and Yeet, Euphoria, Aligned, OpenMind, GTE, Pi Squared, Arceum, Vlair, Aztec, Maiden, Paradex, Wallchain. I think Wallchain got mentioned twice. Yeah. Pharos, Bree, Glider, and Fluent. So there's 39. We need to help them out with at least one more so they can get their full 40. I do, and there's a chance not all these TGE. I think most have been at least teased or alluded if they've not straight up said we have a TGE coming. Whether it happens in 2026, to be determined. Some of these I've seen talk, like OpenMind is one. I've seen a lot of people talking about on the timeline. Have no idea what it is. I've not dove deep. Some of these I need to decide, okay, what do I, you can't, I mean, you could, and it's probably worth them going and creating an account with most of these, just so you're at least active. Do something minimal so you can qualify for like tier 1 or tier 0. But you can't spread yourself too thin as it relates to capital. So if there's, if their points or rewards are based on, the volume that you're staking or trading with, you just can't spread yourself too thin. You're probably better off. Like I was saying, the lighter airdrop was a pretty decent hit. Congrats again to those who hit that one. Shout out to Phonics and Mayhem who got me in there and ended up getting liquidated on that. And I shared, I moved over like a Fartcoin bag that was maybe a little less than $1,000 when I moved it over. Got liquidated. I was expecting maybe like $20. Ended up being a $750 airdrop. I probably should have checked before I said that. I looked at the chart this morning. But my point being is it was almost 1-to-1. I almost got an airdrop equal to the amount I had moved over. And imagine if I hadn't taken the L. Imagine if I had actually been a profitable perp trader over there. Would have been a really nice win. But it doesn't always play out. There's a world where I get liquidated, lose $1,000 on lighter, and then I get a $10 airdrop. Like that also can happen. So I think as you look at these TGEs and what to attack and what to pay your time, your attention, your capital to, it's twofold, right? It's like, okay, which ones can I just participate? Which one? First of all, any ones you enjoy, things that you're passionate about, things that you actually like and could see yourself using post TG, that's the best. Because it doesn't sound like feel like a farm if you're actually using it. And that's most of these protocols, you would think they want real regular users. Once you get past that, then it's okay, which ones can you maybe qualify for just by being active? And then the capital comes into play. I think what I did not do is like a delta neutral farm. And I think that's something I would, talking New Year's and things are where I want to get better is I'm not looking to become a dev or a programmer, but I would like to up my DeFi game and, probably start really small, but create a bot that I can do open some of these delta neutral trades and keep a position where regardless of where the market goes, my upside is limited, but so is my downside, and become a better farmer. I know other people have done it. I don't necessarily like just pointless farms, but when we're talking with AI now and automation, like some may not like that. Some makes, it's washed. It's not. Like there is ways to earn yield in delta, close to delta neutral positions. And then if there's a TGE on top of it, you could win bigly. So again, curious if anyone in the chat has any other TGEs that we not listed here, anything that you're looking forward to, or if just on this list, what are your favorites? What are your favorites coming up? Mega ETH is number one for me, probably by a long shot, partially because I am vested there. I got in the Fluffle round as well as not the earliest, but the last echo round as well. So excited about that. Locked up for 12 months. So, but my excitement is the reason I got in both those rounds was because of how and what they're building. Excited to see that thing get turned on and what else we might see done on chain as now that more is possible with the speed, with the performant blockchain like Mega ETH will be. So excited about that one. MetaMask, OpenSea, I'm not going to let myself get excited just because I don't want to get let down. I'm setting my expectations low, and if those two in particular reward volume from 21, 22, could be a really nice year. I mean, I would like to, looking at this list, I'll be disappointed if 2026 isn't a 6-figure airdrop year. I'm not saying that like, oh, look at me. Like it should be. Keeping in mind, I've got my Mega ETH allocation right now. I think it pre-market trading should be, north of a quarter of that. So it should be, say 25 to 50% of that should be just in Mega ETH. Now, because it's locked up, I may not realize that in 2026, but all in, at least unrealized, I feel my conservative expectation is 6 figures, and that was not the case coming into 2025. I'm sure there was a few, probably OpenSea and Abstract that I might have been expecting in my head heading into the year. Monad maybe thought I might get a little something there. Yeah, curious what all you all are looking at beyond the list I've got pinned up top here. Keeping up with chat, my brain still is not fully functioning. I'm going to need someone to jump up on stage just to give me 30 seconds to go fill my coffee. Yeah, sun fronting, we will be coming for you in the YouTube streets. If you haven't yet done us a favor over there, those like the subscriptions, it's all free. And it does help us out a ton as we start putting more focus on these channels. You maybe started noticing some clips. StreamYard just up their AI clipping game pretty significantly. I'm going to just as I hold myself accountable to showing up every morning. One thing I've not done is in the volume shooter game on X. I'm not going to spam your feeds with dumb stuff, but oftentimes we have great conversations on the show. We have, whether it's scheduled special guest or impromptu conversations, that it's good content. I know I'm very biased, but it's often not even just myself. It's what y'all bring to the show. And I want to do a better job. We want to do a better job of amplifying letting others know. I know, shout out to Blue and Boo and a few others that have offered to help with clips. We absolutely are going to take you up on that. And, for that matter, anyone that's, excited about the vision here, what we're building, reach out to myself or Payne. We don't have, it's true, like internship type opportunities is we're not funded. We don't have a budget. We're truly bootstrapped, but our effectively our model is, we've got a pie, and if a sponsor or brand deal gives us a pizza, we share those slices with everyone who's helping us grow. So, and thinking about doing some more as we focus on growing other distribution channels, focusing on, some actual metrics like, okay, we do want to exceed sun fronting by the end of the year. Hopefully it doesn't take that long, but as you start seeing the other videos and stuff here on X is where we will start. Then our YouTube shorts and keeping our focus. And as we go through not just a slight rebrand, but more so a refocus on the show, the structure. Today is not going to be a good example because of me just being still semi half asleep. But yeah, really excited about where we're at and appreciate you all that have helped us get this far. Oh yeah. Wait. Oh, I just saw no sound on Space. Like, oh my God, if I've been talking for 24 minutes, you guys haven't heard me on Spaces. So quickly catch up with the chat, and then I'll go to Quirky Quirk here, and I will refill my coffee. So another one, Myriad. That's a big one. There's our 40th. Good call on that. Mesh. Yeah, thank you. Bronto. I haven't heard that one, but I think that's on Mega ETH. It looks like. Cap Money on Mega ETH is not. I thought he was saying I was money, but I guess there's a Cap Money that's going to be on Mega ETH. So Cap Money, Myriad, and Bronto. Do we know what the leading DEX, what's going to be the lighter of Mega ETH? What's going to be the Hyperliquid of Mega ETH? I would be curious if we have any takes on that. I know like Euphoria, and there's some others that are more like gamified, but yeah, and Diablito, he says I might be lucky to make a couple $100 on all those TGEs. Maybe. And that's probably the right expectation to have, but you just never know. Like in some of these, if it requires very little capital, if it requires little time, at least get yourself in the game, right? Like I wasn't expecting to make but a couple bucks on lighter, but I got myself in the game and ended up making $750. It's not nothing. And that was, again, I'm not saying everyone should just throw $1,000 into perp trading, but there's ways to I don't say grind or overly farm this stuff. It's just there are a lot of opportunities, and I've been here since this marks my 5th year. Started in January 21. As far as an active participant in the space, I can't remember anything remotely close to this in terms of the amount of TGEs known heading into the year. There's also like which ones aren't we aware of yet? Which ones, like there's a team that met last night at a New Year's party and networked and decided, hey, let's take this idea and run with it. A technical founder and a non-technical founder decided they're going to launch something in 2026, and we'll first hear about it in 2 or 3 months, and then come Q3, Q4, they'll TGE. I know some of these, the OpenSeas, the MetaMasks, the bases have been going on for a long time, and it seems like forever. It's not always like that. Like there will be some that will launch, and soon after launch, it won't be like an extended points farm. They will. Another one, Project X. I would add to the list. I think they'll probably have a TG at some point for those that were using Project X on Mega ETH. on Hyperliquid. There is so much coming. I don't know if there's ever been a better time to be a active participant to earn income from crypto without having to throw a lot of capital at things, just by sheer volume. If you just go and I would love someone to do this. It'd be a lot to track, but so I'd love to see someone just do the minimum effort, just like create an account and do whatever like minimum steps they're asking you to do to theoretically qualify for their first tier. Most of these TGs, they're not equal. Usually it's, you get, minimum qualifiers and then, whales or, they're points leaders, their leaderboard. But I'd love to see someone just get minimum tier on every TGE that's known this year. And I'm not saying minimum tier would be 6 figures, but I think I do, between all the TGEs, between the content and opportunities. I'm not even talking InfoFi, just opportunities. We had a good conversation with Jonah yesterday and what he's doing on Instagram and how he's growing his content there. I saw, actually, I've got a post I'm going to send out today. I think it's still in my drafts. I may fire it off here in a few minutes after I get a little more time for the space. Sleepy New Year's Day. Shout out to everyone, all the real ones who are up bright and early and joining us. Appreciate you all. Quick reset, and then I will get Quirky Quirk in here. But yeah, if you haven't given us a like and repost on this space, the audio space, would appreciate the help warming it up. So those that are up and out, they're missing out by not catching my raspy voice this morning. But 2 things. One, I do want to send out this post about, this came from the head of Instagram. I will remind me to come back to that, the head of Instagram, in the post I want to send out. I can't trade in the chat. Says the delta neutral strategy you're talking about is the entire basis of the founder of Tasty Trade. Tom Sosnoff and the co-host Tony Batista use. It's all about staying delta neutral across your portfolio and adjusting contracts to essentially hit your ROI target with minimized downside risk. Don't know if they do this with crypto other than an ETF exposure, but you literally can't find two guys who are better at the strategy than them in their YouTube. So cool. I wasn't familiar with them, but I just gave them a follow, and we'll go check it out. Appreciate you sharing. I can't trade. Quirky Quirk GM, welcome to the stage. If you, I think you're there. Check.
GM, yep, I'm
happy
here.
Happy New Year. Thanks so much for jumping up. And I am curious if you have any takes on the TGE list. If there's any that I haven't mentioned that you're looking forward to, but also feel free to take it any direction you'd like. Happy New Year.
No doubt. I'll give you that 30 seconds to grab that coffee. It sounds like you need it, but no, I appreciate you being here every morning for us, all the mornings. It's a great way to start the new year, and I really appreciate how you bring us to this lovely watering hole most mornings of the year and cultivate this inter-community growth and conversation. So I just wanted to say that and appreciate that first and foremost. So you go get your coffee. I can ramble for at least 30 seconds while you do that if you like. And he's gone. Good, perfect. Well, no, the list looks great, honestly. And I'm really excited about kind of digging into this more because a lot of them I've recognized and realized and have seen before. A lot they're still out there that I have not. I kind of want to take you up on that challenge, to be honest, and just kind of work through this list and figure out ways to get myself at least minimally qualified for whatever tier I can, and then report back. I think that would be actually a pretty fun adventure to go on for 2026, at least to start the year, because there's obviously a lot of excitement. The ones on here that maybe I'm not quite seeing yet, and what I'm most excited about are some of these combinations of AI and blockchain. I'm really excited about some of these privacy making chains that are existing, that will help people to more easily and safely use language models mixed with AI, obviously, and the blockchain and tokenomics. So there are a few out there that I'm aware of that I don't think are on this list yet, but I will try to dig into that a little bit more because I love the way that segment of what we're doing here is playing out. I think it's going to be a fun confluence of things for 2026. Have you been made aware of many of those plays, or maybe some of these on here are that, and I just am not quite aware of them yet?
Yeah, conceptually, yes, I agree. I think this was probably my leading thesis coming into last year was I thought AI agents would be to the 2025 what NFTs were to 2021. That was wrong or early. I do think that there's more coming there. I don't think it's in the form of we're going to have a bunch of AI agents like AI XBT and they're going to be billion-dollar tokens. More so AI helping us be more productive with our on-chain assets and helping. Maybe we're a iteration or two away from helping normies in DeFi, but those of us that are here, like I think about the NFT cycle, and I was not. I was, but I wasn't productive with my assets. Like I was early to NFTFi, and tactically, one of the things that helped me grow my portfolio more so than anything else was using NFTFi. And I would, I didn't put much capital in the space. I think of look at Diablito's comments. Like that's about where I started. Like I had some ETH in a Coinbase account, ETH, a little bit of Bitcoin and Litecoin. And I moved some of that over and started with Top Shot. But all in, I think like fiat cash into crypto in 21, it was less than $1,000. And I hit Top Shot early, did some flipping there, but I don't even know if I ever really cashed out much on the Top Shot front. I just kind of round trip most of that bag. But then I started with, when I set up my MetaMask wallet, I think I might have started like 0.2 ETH and bought some horses on Zed and, did a nifty gateway faces from Blau and I've told the story about minting apes, and I believe had like 0.25 in my wallet when I minted apes. I minted one, went to sleep, woke up, and um, my dog woke me up and went out, and Discord was popping off. Like, oh, I better mint a couple more of these. I thought I had weeks to maybe mint some extras, and I had made a little over, I don't know the exact amount, a little over 0.16. I basically minted as many as I could with the remaining dry powder in my hot wallet. And I say hot wallet like I knew the difference at the time. And but yeah, that was it. So I took, let's just say, on my ETH journey, about 0.25 ETH. And yes, I know it's, oh, well, of course you hit it. You minted apes, you got lucky. Whatever. I'm not saying like that exactly is going to play back again. But my point is, instead of having to keep putting new capital in because I didn't sell those apes. I did trade one and then would sell another one later. But it was during the run up, building my portfolio was using my assets to be productive. There was some airdrops, third-party airdrops that others were rewarding for holding said assets, but more so, it was, there'd be some hot mint. I'd take a loan off an NFT, I'd pull some capital out of the NFT, I'd go mint the thing, flip some, and then pay off the loan. Rinse, repeat. I did that probably 100 times and was able to grow a 7-figure portfolio started with about 0.25 ETH. Now that I know that those expectations may not seem normal, it's not about the dollars and cents, not about the numbers, rather how I was able to do it. And this industry, unlike anything else on the planet, in my opinion, it does present opportunities for rapidly compounding your capital. You can also, it goes both directions. You can also burn your capital, but I'm not just talking like opening up a 40x levered long. I'm talking about using your assets as collateral, being smart with it, doing some of these, implementing some of these delta neutral strategies. There's ways to, so as I shared, the NFTFi story was a tool, a resource that helped me grow my portfolio in 21, 22, 23. To Quirky Quirk's point, I think in addition to NFTFi, I think there's going to be, there is today, these tools, these resources exist. I think there's going to be more that deliver great results. And we also have, as far as AI goes, it's just, fact of the matter is, a lot smarter. It can be a lot better today than anything that existed back then. So yeah, I don't know anything specific, Quirky Quirk. If you have any ones you want to call out, feel free to do so. But yeah, I'm remaining extremely bullish on the intersection of AI and blockchain tech.
Yeah, totally. I think you're absolutely right. I think what this space in particular, and what I've found, and when people I talk to who are not as excited about the word crypto or blockchain or AI, when I bring it up to them, I see a lot of glazed eyes still today, which is actually exciting to me. I kind of work now in the intersection of healthcare and AI, and I get to talk to a lot of people who really are quite averse to AI, especially in the healthcare industry sometimes, even though healthcare as a whole is actually one of the largest adopters of the technology. There's still lots of practitioners and providers and doctors and nurses and staff that are completely like, I do not want anything to do with this. But that all being said, it's fun to talk to them about the power of it and how it can make something that they're doing way more efficient and way more effective, and help them on their journeys to be a better provider or a better staff member, or things like that. And what I've loved about this community is I think we're always on the edge of these new technologies. And I love the fact that I'm in all these different communities that I explain to people. It's like, being in a network of extremely forward thinking early adopters, right? And I learn so much every day on this space, on other spaces in different communities, of this new technology that maybe can come to the table, that can maybe help people out. And that's what I've loved more than anything about my Web3 journey, is the networking and the people that I meet and the ideas that other people bring to the table and bring to me and bring to our communities as a whole. Because like you said, there's so much opportunity, and like we still might be a cycle or two away from things, but at least we're aware of it, right? In a way that allows us to set ourselves up, or to dive deeper, or to learn more, or to iterate, or to build ourselves to hopefully put ourselves at that front of the wave for when that wave or the multiple waves finally hit at the same time, which I do think is finally that confluence of AI and blockchain and tokenomics and incentivizing people to like do decentralized things for the betterment of the whole.
Yeah, not bad. How are you? Oop, we got a little feedback there, but I agree. Well said. And it's yes, the opportunity to make money is going from a little to a lot by being active, by being a beta tester, by incentive reward programs and airdrops, etc. It's incredible, unlike anything else. The what really excites me is this front row seat we have to this bleeding edge tech, and it's going to be bumpy. There's going to be misses along the way. Some are just simply never going to find product market fit, but just looking at this list, it's way more than 42. There was the 3 already shared in the abstract chat. There's a lot that I mean, I could probably go to. I may grow this list to 100 today if it's doable. You probably can just by going to like Kaido and Zeet and look at their pre-TGE lists. But yeah,
you're gonna make this challenge way harder for me, huh? I was just telling how I'm gonna go through this list and actually try to take you up on that. Figure out how to work my way through it all and get myself at least onboarded on most of these projects that I'm not yet onboarded with. I'll try to keep track of it too, because I think that would be a very fascinating experiment.
Yeah, keep us posted. And that's the question I have for everyone today. I'll pull this list back up again. If you had to pick 3, what 3 are you picking? If you had to focus your time, attention, and capital on just 3 of these TGEs, and could be one that's not even listed yet, but if you had to pick 3, what 3 are they? I'd like to hear from everyone in the chat. Let it drop there. What's your top 3? I already said mine is Mega ETH is number 1 for me. Payne says tough feels like it depends on how much time you had invested in 2025, meaning like how much time you invested in each of these respective protocols. That's also certainly going to, it should weigh into your answers here, is if you've already like, abstract, I don't quote unquote farm, but I stream over there every day. So I am vested. Base, I've been an active participant on Base. I've not actively farmed it, but I hold a lot of Base assets, and we're going to create a creator coin. I kid, maybe, I don't know. We're gonna do something over there. We're gonna do Zora.
I want to know when Pizza with Captain starts, because I want to be part of that.
Yeah, we're gonna do something over there. It's just there's too much. I'm not a fan of creator coins. I think it's flawed in its current state. But of this list, if you gun to my head, I had to pick right now off this existing list. I'm gonna say Mega ETH, Base, and OpenSea. Don't let me down, Steve. Mega ETH, Base, and OpenSea would be my top 3, and those are major TGEs. Like these are ones. This isn't like, oh, this thing might open up at $10 to $50 million market cap. These should be major $1 billion FDVs at launch, and they're going to be crowded. There's going to be a lot of people in these. There's a lot of people been farming them for years. So sometimes there's 2 paths you can take. One are like, what's the sure thing? If I go and put time and energy into Mega ETH or Abstract, like you are going to get something, but you also know it's going to be crowded. There's going to be a lot of people also participating, where sometimes can be advantageous, can be plus EV to find something like, and I'm making this up, I don't know, but I haven't heard of. Doing some research and finding what's the under the radar like Lighter is a good example. There was a lot of reasons to be bullish on Lighter. The crypto czar David Sachs is one of the funds. I think he maybe diluted his or had to divest his holdings prior to, but they've got a strong cap table. There's a lot of reasons that you could have you could have built a very strong thesis as to why Lighter would have been a good protocol, a good platform to get active on. You didn't see every KOL in the timeline talking about it. There was some, but it was one of those that was kind of under the radar, at least for a while. And I think there's others that are probably on this list that I have no idea what Aztec is. I know, it could be the cook of the year. I'm not saying it's that one. I'm picking randomly here, but sometimes finding the ones that maybe aren't as sure of a thing, especially if it's something you enjoy and you think they've got a good product. I will say this though, tokenomics matter. How they go to market matters. They can have a great product, but if they botch their TGE, they can have a great product, have a great community. If they fumble their TGE and they don't open up with enough liquidity and they don't have market maker, like it's not going to matter. It's really hard to recover if someone botches a TGE like big time. But finding those diamonds in the rough, if you will, can be very advantageous. So yeah, let us know in the chat if anyone wants to talk through. You're welcome to jump up on stage as well. But let us know of this list, what are your top 3 that you are going to be focusing your attention on in 2026? Do you have 3, Quirky Quirk?
I think I kind of echo what you're saying, and I also tend to be someone who's a little bit in that all or nothing kind of mentality that I have to be aware of to try to counteract. And I think a lot of people will see, oh, well, okay, like base, abstract, OpenSea. Those are obviously massive ones. There's so many people in it, so many people already in the ecosystem. Like, what are you actually going to get? But like, they are so big, the pie is so big to split that it's going to be more than nothing, right? And worth your time and worth your energy to dig into it. So sometimes I need to recalculate and just put myself in the mindset like, hey, like I might not be first in there and there's going to be a lot of people doing way more than me, but it's still as a whole going to be worthwhile to be paying attention and invested in it and not just giving up because I think I'm too late to the party. We're all still in this and have lots of shared excitement to partake in, I believe.
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone is too late. You might be getting into a crowded trade, but it's still very early on all these. Most are still in beta. Most are still. I think that the thing is like also not just which ones you're going to attack, but having a plan going into these. Are you selling immediately as soon as it hits your wallet? Do you mind muting your mic quick, right? Just get some feedback.
Oh yeah, my bad. Sorry.
Are you going to sell half at soon as it hits your wallets? Are you going to wait the 3 days and see if it does get that initial first pump? Most tokens in 2025 performed very poorly. Like there's a few gems that outperformed, but a lot of them that launched in 2025 are down 90 to 99% from where they opened. It's going to happen with some, regardless of what the team does. I think some were probably poorly done. I think others were maybe overinflated. We've talked about the Seedify's new approach, this IMO, initial milestone offering. I think it's a bad name, but the thesis is they are, the team might get like 20% of the funds at TGE, and the rest they have to hit milestones to get it unlocked. And if they don't, I'm guessing the pre-sale money would be returned to the early investors. I'm hopeful, cautiously optimistic that the teams that go to the TGE in 2026, they have not even second or third mover advantage. Like they've seen a lot of teams fumble token drops. Now, you could also have the best tokenomics and the best executed TGE of all time, but if your product's junk and no one's going to use it, the coin's probably going to run to zero. So it's identifying products, things that you're excited about, things that you'd like to cheer on, things that you'd like to, rock their jersey. I'm excited about Mega ETH. It's an easy one for me to get excited about their TGE because I like what they're building. I'm gonna be active there. The fact that I get a loyalty reward, incentive rewards is just cherry on top. It's something I would do without TGE. So if you can find those, that's an easy one to, I don't want to say overinvest, but talking your time and attention. Things like, I'm not trying to take direct shots, but I agree. Like MetaMask would be one I don't, unless they come up with something. Hey, here's what we're going to do with the token. Here's our plan, which I don't know what that would be today. I'm pretty bearish on not just MetaMask, but mostly tokens for wallets until we see someone do something good with it and give us a use case to hold hopefully give others a reason to buy the token. So often we saw teams go to market with there's literally nothing you could do with the token other than sell. I'm rattling off chat comments here. We're going to highlight Payne today. I do like the new green. I like the new green. The green banner is looking good. I dig it. I think OpenSea will be so widespread and expectations so high, it'll be peanuts. Love you, Steve. And that's also once things are so, I called it a crowded trade earlier, and expectations are so high, it's going to be very difficult for them to make everyone happy. They won't make everyone happy. I hope they make me happy. I hope they make all of you happy as well. Base, OpenSea, can't even think of a third. Wow. No Mega ETH love on Bretton. What have I done to you? Is it because I'm rooting for Alabama? He does add abstract might be a thing, but worry they missed the window. I don't think they missed the window. I just don't. They need something else. They need what's next for abstract. I don't know what. Duke? Sorry, he was making noise. I didn't know what he was getting into. I don't think abstract missed the window. I think they need to kind of reset like what's next for abstract before they TGE. Payne almost up to 1 million. GG's. I haven't checked my actual points. I will go do that right now. Actually, I know I'm in the I guess the gold tier. I'm eligible to stream. Wow, 1 million points is a lot, dude. Congratulations. Yeah, so at 1 million, you hit 1 million, you get into that platinum tier or whatever next. I've kind of given up on that. Was just being satisfied with my gold tier, thinking I couldn't make it. And I still kind of think like that, but I'm at like 260,000 XP. So I'm like 25% of the way to 1 million, not expecting to get there. But if it ends up being like, this is like a Q4 thing as opposed to Q1 or Q2, I don't know. Maybe I should put the focus there to getting to it. I just my concern with abstract is I don't know what is next for them. I like the portal. I think it's good they have streaming. I just don't know why. Where do they fit in the competitive world of just the ones we've just mentioned, Mega ETH and Base? What's abstract's unique selling proposition? I don't know. I'm truly asking the question. I like it. I want them to do well. I just don't know what it is. Mesh asks, not sure about MetaMask. Probably need a lot of volume and their fees are really high. You're going to spend a lot on gas. Yeah, if you're already using MetaMask to do swaps anyways, it might be worth it. So I did this back in the day. I did a lot of swaps in MetaMask, attempting to front run this someday token. And I don't know if they'll ever go back and give me credit for that historical activity or not. I don't use the wallet anymore. It got unusable for me. I should give it another chance. I should at least go and again take my own advice and at least do the minimum start on their reward, whatever their current program is, so that I'm at least can get whatever historical usage they would reward. Happy New Year to you as well, Diego. And quick digression from the token. Here's something else I would go all in. I would go hard on a TGE if I don't know how you say it's Panettone. It's holiday sweet loaf. I don't know how to describe it other than that, but it's another, that and my Panda Hamon today is what I will be enjoying, kicking off the new year with a bang. So 2 other things. I'm going to land this plane here on Base in particular. Diablito adds abstract, Zeet, Myriad, done some campaigns on Wall Chain. Diego agrees it is delicious. So you could probably find this at like a Walmart, Publix. I think you don't have to go to any specialty store to grab those, but that's my alpha today. Back to Base. And I mentioned in passing Creator Coins, not a fan in their current form. What I am a fan of is the CEO that's in founder mode on the timeline. It's not just Jesse and other people specifically on the base team. You got on New Year's Eve, Brian Armstrong had a great chat with Thread Guy. Lots of good ideas. Thanks for the thoughts. And he quote tweeted the Thread Guy's video from a couple days ago where he said, "I'm never buying another Creator coin." This was after they kind of a lackluster approach to Nick Shirley, the guy who went viral with the Minnesota video, launched Creator coin. And, it is weird that Jesse was like bull posting Soldier Boy's 50th coin, but yet didn't talk about Nick Shirley. Like they actually somehow, someone got to them, they actually onboarded a insanely viral creator. I mean, he's done his media rounds. Nick was on the All In podcast, and he's done several others. I've seen a bunch of clips where he's like the person, like all the big shows are bringing on Nick to talk about this expose and the daycare fraud and stuff. Why didn't Jesse do that on base? Why didn't Jesse do that with him on Zora? Like, what? It just feels like their current form, I think they need to evolve. They need to do something different than just what it is. I've seen some ideas. I've seen some suggestions of like someone, I don't know exactly how technically it would work, but someone suggested like a community coin paired with the creator coin. And they went into, I'll see if I can find the thesis so I can do it better justice. But I for the life of me, I can't understand, like, they're pushing it so hard, creator coins and their base app. Why aren't they doing things there? Like, what? That's what I'm missing. Like, why didn't, and maybe they have it, I just don't see it, but like, why doesn't Jesse host it doesn't have to be daily. Why doesn't he host a weekly stream on Zora? Why doesn't Brian host their next presentation on there? Like, I'm struggling to understand why the team isn't executing on that front. That seems like kind of the low-hanging fruit. Maybe they do. Maybe they take the feedback, because it wasn't just Thread Guy. This is another one that he said, awesome, let's see if we can communicate this more clearly. This was in response to Linart, who said, some people ask what a course correction could look like in practice. These aren't prescriptions or a complete list, but it are 10 concrete examples of how base could rebalance. Communication strategy, I agree. They did have a comms lead. Shortly after OpenSea hired Steve, they put I don't know if it's still open. If anyone go find that listing, maybe they filled it, just haven't announced it yet. But I think it's important. Bring on a comms professional. I know you got Jesse. I don't think he's a comms professional. I know you got Kobe, who's doing the Lord's work on Twitter DMs and comments. And he could be fine. It's just not the guy. I'm amazed that he continues to grind like he does. Audience targeting. Don't neglect CT. Onboarding UX reality. Objective analysis of opportunity costs, revaluing assumptions, recentering the general purpose on-chain economy. Base app discovery first. More founders inside the base team. Base token as base currency for the on-chain economy. Let's get into it. And he goes on to break it down and goes into detail on all these. And again, more so than the specifics is the fact that Brian is in the weeds, engaging, hearing the feedback, hearing the critique, listening to the ideas. You got my attention. I know I'm not saying they'll make all the right moves, but how he's moving, it is impressive. And it wants me to throw more support behind it. It wants me to, okay, they might figure this thing out. I don't think it's there right now. I'm at the highest level bearish creator coins. GG's Otis. He's got the cane with his coda already. Well, good pick. Again, my point here being is, it says base is general purpose, useful for lots of cases, payments, trading, DeFi, building an app economy. Our goal is to get distribution for every builder on base. That's how they can win. They have the top of funnel edge, but I don't want to see them fumble that. Robinhood is coming for them. Robinhood is building the everything app. They're going to have perps. They're going to they're doing all the things. And I know I'm getting probably a little too granular here on base, It's going to be a highly anticipated TG. We may not even see base in 2026. It's going to be interesting because you got base, which coming from a publicly traded company and Coinbase, who has stock and shareholders, how they navigate this is going to be interesting. Another one, by the way, I just saw on the timeline. Apparently, Trump is. Let me find the exact. Apparently, Trump's doing a token for Trump Media, their shareholders. Not another meme coin, but something for. I saw the post and then my screen refreshed, so I can't see it. But if anyone knows what I'm talking about here, let me know. Maybe it was Zoomer. I will get back to Coinbase and finish that thought. But just one more. Okay, yeah, so here it is. Trump Media to launch an airdrop new token to its shareholders will also have benefits for Trump products such as True Social. I don't even know which way to take that. When we go back to the year of TGE, we've never seen anything like this before. This isn't like, it's probably going to be like the roller coaster. At some point, the thing's going to stop spinning, the death roller coaster, or whatever they call it, the death loops. But my last thought on Coinbase, why do they have two apps? Why do we have Coinbase Wallet still in the base app? Why don't they just merge those together? Wouldn't that help with onboarding distribution? What am I missing there from a strategy standpoint of why the separate base app? Why not build them all under one app? Two apps just doesn't make any sense to me. Can't figure it out. I think it's also where Robinhood has an edge. But all that to be said, Brian's in the weeds. He's got a sound team around him. What can I do to better position myself on base? Other than going and buying NFTs or coins over there, we're gonna do something on Zora. We're gonna get involved in that community. I got into base builders, TGE. It's a big ecosystem, and of all the ones that have like real sustainability, real, like, if you had to pick, maybe another way to ask this TGE question, if you had to pick 3 of these that would still be around and still be a going concern, like the protocol is still thriving or start to thriving in 2030, which 3 would you pick? I think base, it feels pretty confident that base is still going to be here in 2030. Now, in its current form, not exactly, certainly not. What does the space look like by then? I don't know. I can't think in 5-year timelines here. All I know is, yes, it's going to be crowded, but it's one where I feel you've got little risk of it going to zero, like little risk of it just being, it's not going to be a rug. It's probably not your biggest upside, but it's a good one to, if you're here, you probably should be, if there's things that they're teasing or things that they're alluding this could be beneficial for an upcoming TGE, probably worth going and checking those boxes. Maybe it's just too crowded, similar to the OpenSea comment. There's just so many people, it's so wide, they're never going to hit expectations. What if they do? What if they nail it? What if they make these changes and it takes off? It's one that with such little downside, I don't see. If you're here, you probably should be doing some sort of minimum activity on base. They're attracting good builders. We just talked to BZ the other day, who's going multi-chain, but adding base to their, the chains are going from Flow today to adding base to it. Jonah just popped up, who's building on base, and Coinbase Ventures is also another thing. I think you could use Coinbase Ventures as like an indicator, right? Like, what am I looking for? Have this checklist in my head. There's so many TGs. There's 40, 50, 100 TGs this year. Which ones I'm going to pay attention to? Which ones on base might be advantageous for me to put time, attention, and focus on? Well, one, if Coinbase is vested, if Coinbase Ventures is in, well, that might be a good one to. I'm not saying it's the answer, and all everything that Coinbase Ventures invests in is going to be a TGE print, but it would be it's a good data point. It's like, okay, that Coinbase is bullish on this. Coinbase is putting their money where their mouth is. So this is probably one I should at least go check out, go create an account at LiveFrame and do, whatever. And I'm not saying LiveFrame's going to have a token. I don't know. I'm not putting Jonah on the spot.
Well, we'll have a token. I don't know if it'll be this year, although it might be, but we'll have a token.
So, I mean, and I'm not trying to make you share things that you're not comfortable sharing or, violate any NDAs or anything. But I mean, as a builder on Base who's going to drop a token at some point, who has Coinbase Ventures on the cap table, I mean, I'm not trying to dumb this down and oversimplify things, but if you're looking at like, what should I pay attention to? What should I look for that might be a good performing token drop? Am I oversimplifying it by saying, hey, if it's on Base and you're looking to do things on Base, this is where it's like it's a double dip, right? Like we know there's a Base token coming, so if there's something else in that ecosystem that also is going to TGE, you're likely getting some sort of credit, some sort of allocation, some sort of points whenever Base does their token. And it also may not be 2026, but if they do, where can I go to where I'm getting not just points for live stream, but by default, anything I'm doing on live stream, I'm also doing on Base. And oh, by the way, Coinbase Ventures is on the cap table. So am I oversimplifying things here, Jonah, or removing yourself or removing live stream from the conversation? If you were looking to, where do you want to focus and participate on Base outside of what you're building? Is that not make sense? As like, hey, this is that checks some boxes. Maybe we should maybe be paying attention to where Coinbase Ventures is looking.
I'm inherently biased, so I won't comment on that, or at least I'll plead the fifth since I'm still a citizen here. But I think there's a lot of things that are not just like the CB Ventures back this. I think if you don't use your own judgment, you almost always lose. And I don't care if it's President Trump who co-signs it, or if it's, the president of the whatever fuck, I think that you need to use your own judgment, because being invested by someone with a nice name does not mean that your company is going to succeed. It's dependent on the founder, not people who write a check into you. So I think you just need to be open-minded and, follow where the money and attention is. If that's meme coins on Base, then that's meme coins. If it's some variation of a future creator-related coin, then maybe it's that. But I think people should just be open-minded. I think Pump Fund was not some big thing that people knew was going to work. It just happened. And I think that's probably what's going to happen with the next big startup. We'll see.
Yeah, a good take. I agree. I think the next big thing is probably something that no one's really thinking about yet. The next meta might it be something related to prediction markets or perp dexes? Maybe. Might it be? I just like if you were to summarize 2025 in one word, like the first thing that comes to my mind is like hyper gambling. Like we went, and it's always been a thing here, but I think we over-indexed super hard in the meme coin trenches, the poly markets, Kalshis of the world, the perp dexes. I think and a lot of people took L's. I sense the activity is shifting a little bit to, hey, I'd like to find teams, founders that I believe in. Speaking for myself, I feel a lot better if, okay, I'm going to put my time, attention, energy, and some capital into this thing that I'm using the product. It makes sense. I like the founder. I like the team. And if they fail, if they either failure of execution or market conditions, I'm okay taking those L's, because I wasn't just putting it on black and crossing my fingers. My thesis is people, and now this kind of burnt me, and 21, 22, because there was some teams that I picked wrong. I bet on some founders, Tally Labs, that I liked them as humans and thought conceptually what they were attempting to do was interesting, unique, and ultimately it ended up holding a big bag that literally went to zero as they pivoted out of the space. So, but at least I had a thesis. At least it wasn't just I'm hoping this thing works out. I'm hoping that this thing is a cook for no apparent reason. And yes, you're right. Just VCs, funds, they're investing likely with the expectation that 9 out of 10 of them are going to be a miss. 9 out of 10 are going to go to zero. So just because Coinbase Ventures or someone else on the cap table is by no means a guarantee of success. As time is limited, capital is limited, and
like I understand that side, and I think like that's a good way of thinking. I just I just keep my mind open. That's all. I think that I think people live and die by their hubris, something that I've had to learn for the last few years, and I think that you could be the greatest funded company of all time, and then all of a sudden the next OpenAI comes out of nowhere and blows out 90% of the companies, and you didn't even know what's happening, right? So, I just like to keep searching, keep playing the field, and sometimes, it's kind of like checking your spam, right? You check your spam once a week in your messages to see if there's anything of value, and it's not some Nigerian prince who wants to give you money. And I'll tell you what, when I was doing my agency full time, I found several clients that ended up netting me almost $250,000 by checking my spam. It turned out to be legit, but they had no connection to crypto.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. I definitely had some costly DMs that I did not respond to, unbeknownst to me, until it was too late. Whatever that feature was, Payne, that was cool. I had the little added the little chat on the side in addition to picking specific comments. I like that. Looking at catching up on abstract real quick. Diego and Meshmesh both agreeing with my panettone. Am I saying it right? Am I pronouncing it correctly? Help me out on that, Diego. Panettone, it is delicious. Chocolate panettone is the best. I have not had that yet. That'll be my next request. And the pistachio one also have not had. Yeah, Jesse from Base did buy some of Nick Shirley's coin, but I didn't see any promotion of it. Right, like he was bull posting Soldier Boy's 69th token on the timeline, and I didn't see him or Base or Zora or anyone post about Nick Shirley's coin. And you would think that would be a moment, like not just post about it, bring him on, interview him. Like he's gone on All In Pod. He's not good enough for Jesse Pollock to host an interview. Like I'm not picking on them. I understand. I think what they're attempting to do. I think they need to make some tweaks, make some changes. I don't have all the solutions, but I don't know. Maybe they need someone else on the team that can help them navigate this stuff. Maybe it is Brian. Maybe it is Brian rolling his sleeves up, getting in the weeds and understanding, taking in all the feedback and then making some appropriate changes. Katie said that's a great question, Cap. I'm not sure which that was in regards to, but thank you. So back to this TGE list and where are we going to invest our time? Where are we going to invest our capital? Team's important. Timing is also important. If something is coming in Q1, maybe it's you allocate more of your time, attention, and capital now as opposed to something that may or may not drop in 2026. That said, it's also attempting to identify things that you're long-term bullish on, that you actually think they've got a good product, you enjoy the platform, you enjoy whatever they're doing. If you can be early to that, that's where you can really hit material windfall. The people who were early to Kaido before InfoFi really took off did really well. People who were early to Hyperliquid before perp dexes became the meta of the cycle did really, really well. What's next? I don't know. I don't know if anyone really knows. I do think it's probably something that is relatively new. I think there's a chance it is. Quirk said, talk about AI and what these agents can do on chain. How can we make our assets more productive? I also think that what Base is doing is it's not just like Base isn't just competing with the crypto natives. OpenSea is making an everything app. Base is competing with Robinhood, and Robinhood's coming from a different angle. Robinhood, I believe, I don't have the data to support this, but I believe Robinhood has a pretty sizable market share lead when you look at the younger demographic. When you look at the Zoomers and Gen Alpha that's out there doing all the sports betting and they're deep in the prediction markets, like Robinhood has that, I think, more of that base than does Coinbase. Again, feel free to check me if I'm wrong here. I just think they have that younger generation who I don't know what Base can do. Like TLDR, I think if Brian called me, one of my advice would be do whatever you can to attempt to vampire attack those Robinhood users now. Because once Robinhood builds out everything they're talking about building, once they have perps and prediction markets and sports betting and all that stuff in one app, it's going to be hard to get them to leave. Like banking and like I when I say everything app, I'm not talking like everything crypto app and your wallet and everything's in one place. I think like there's a world in the not so distant future where the average 21-year-old, they've got a Robinhood account and that's it. They don't even have a bank account, a traditional bank account. They don't have a brick and mortar bank account. They just do everything in the Robinhood app. They pay their rent from Robinhood. They buy their groceries from their Robinhood card. They're getting Bitcoin cash back when they make a purchase. It's their sportsbook of choice. It's like, I think that's where Robinhood's heading, and I think they execute. Will they win that race? I don't know, but I think they're both in a good position. I'm not sure which is a better trade if you're talking equities or stock at this point, but I think that's one thing. Like, so if you compare Robinhood to Coinbase, Base, that's again, I go back to why two apps? Why not drive all those users under one
Are you
app?
talking about a Coinbase wallet or a Coinbase and Base app?
Well, I guess three apps then, right? Because it's the Coinbase app, which I was referring to the Coinbase app and the Base app, but it's actually the Coinbase app,
it's
the
still
Coinbase
two
wallet.
apps. So people think that Base app and Coinbase wallet apps are different. They're actually not. It's still the Coinbase wallet, but it's a reskin on top. And you can actually see this because if you click the profile on your Base app and then turn off Base mode, it'll go back to the old UI of the Coinbase wallet and still function the same.
Okay. So
it's like moving over.
So Coinbase wallet has become Base app essentially, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Right.
That's good. Why not also do the same thing with the Coinbase app? Why not make them all truly an everything app? Why have the two separate? Wouldn't it be so much easier to get people on Base and doing all this other stuff if they didn't have to download a new app? It was just all in the Coinbase app. Any thoughts on why splitting those two?
The same reason why X has the X app and then Grok has its own app, but you can still use it inside X. Like at some point you get to feature creep where there is too many features in an app to sustain the app itself because the UI UX becomes too encumbered. And so it's not just Coinbase that has this issue, it's also X, and Facebook has this issue too. You can say the same thing. Well, why did Facebook need Instagram? Why didn't it just absorb it into Facebook, right? It also has to do with getting net new users. At some point with your app, you reach a ceiling on how many users will join your app, whether it's a UI, UX, branding, whatever the reason is, needs. You reach a total cap on how many people will download your core app. And if you want to grow as a business, you need a new app that can reach a new audience that can absorb them and funnel them back into the core app. Like I'll give you an example. Of my 10 million views last month on Instagram, 1.2 million of that was on Facebook. But I never interacted with Facebook. Facebook has a feature where you double post. So it feeds it to the boomers that exist on Facebook, but it still gets served to the Gen Z kids who are on Instagram. And so Coinbase and Coinbase app would be the exact same structure in that orchestration.
That's interesting. It makes sense, I guess, from that angle. The other side, Shane Stacks had in the chat, the fact that I can buy, sell, pay bills all in one place while earning a high APR already makes it hard to leave Robinhood app. So, and that, I guess that's like, I get both. It makes sense, especially using the Facebook, Instagram. I think this is where, like, what Robinhood, that makes more sense to me from the users who aren't here. And because most of those users are not getting high APR on their checking account, their regular bank account.
The only battle against that, because I've heard this before, is like, I don't think how many people here realize how much bad blood Robinhood has with the average customer in Web 2. Like, these guys did not forget the GameStop rug pull that Robinhood pulled. Like, I'm not anti-Robinhood, by the way. I think they're an amazing team. I'm just saying, I think people here underestimate how much bad blood Robinhood has with the general public, even though they, of course, have growing userships. And that distrust has a lot of people who would be willing to move over to a competitor app. And by the way, both can coexist. It's not like one's going to eat the other, right? Like in my physical wallet, I have a Visa card, I have an Amex, I have a MasterCard. I have different credit card companies. Like, you could make the same thesis, oh, Visa's going to eat everyone and only Visa. Well, if that were true, I wouldn't have like 4 credit cards on my wallet that are from different companies.
Yeah, fair. I'm also seeing, I'm not the only one who's Brian's New Year's Eve plans. Like, everyone else is out there partying. He's grinding in the X comments and chats. Just seeing a lot of people giving him kudos for grinding the last couple days. I pinned another one up top from just had been chatting with folks the last few days, hearing various viewpoints. What's your main piece of feedback? What do you think the Base app should do next? Jonah, what do you think the Base app should do next?
I wrote an entire article and made AI mock-ups of how they should make the new app and make the designs. I'll give you the highlight, but I already sent it into their team so they can look at the mock-ups. But one is get rid of creator tokens entirely.
Okay.
The speculation side of them, and turn them into credits to get base points.
Okay.
Right. So like, oh, your past creator trades, okay, like we're deprecating that. You can trade the existing tokens if you want, but you can turn this in for base points. So there's a transitionary period. So that's one. The second is introduce a new creator economics paradigm that enables Coinbase. They have stablecoin as a service. Any creator that opts in and wants to opt in can turn into a stablecoin. So instead of trading Jonah token, you can get Jonah dollars that are backed by USDC. And the amount of value that Jonah dollar has in the treasury is representative of how I trade meme coins and others, how I interact with the apps on Base app, the rewards I'm getting from companies, and from the amount of sponsors and advertisers that want to work with me, where I share in the pot of that advertisement, of course. But then these, like, for example, let's say Publix, you mentioned Publix, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say Publix has $Publix and it's the Publix stablecoin. Maybe Publix knows that I live in Florida and they want to do a deal with me where they want me to do a commercial for their next sub sandwich or something. Okay. So what I can say is you're gonna pay me X dollars and you're gonna buy Jonah dollars. And then I'm going to, in the app, have an ability where if you buy this Publix sub using Jonah dollars, you get 30% off, right? So you turn these stable coins into next generation referral codes that are composable, tradable, reward driven, but don't have speculation. You then move the creator speculation to prediction markets. and you basically copy what Melee Markets is doing and create creator native prediction markets. Will Jonah Blake get the public sub sponsorship? How many views could he get? And that's where the speculation and gambling can take place.
I like it. I like the idea of pivoting away from creator coins, and I'm not one to say, oh, let's get locked into a big points farm, but I think that makes a lot more sense than what they're doing currently. And
well, I don't mean points farm. I mean literally that Captain has $Captain, and if a brand wants to come into Web3 and do a deal with Captain, they would use Captain's stablecoin in order for someone who likes Captain. Like if name a Spanish food company or something. And you've been talking about being like more Latin lately.
Panettone.
All right, let's say $taco, because I'm a very white guy. I don't know Spanish food. Okay, let's say Captain really likes tacos, and he's always making videos about tacos. He does like taco food reviews. Okay, and then Taco Bell comes in, works with the Base app or works with you directly, and they say, we've seen Captain's taco reviews, and we want him to do a Taco Bell video for our new taco that's coming out next month. Okay, like the cheesy base house burrito. All right, whatever the fuck. Right. So Taco Bell has their own stable coin, and they can say, if you swap $Captain for $Taco Bell token, by watching this video, you can get 30% off by paying in that stable coin, because all of these stable coins are just dollars. They're not speculative. They are paired with the US dollar. Okay. So all it is allowing other people to buy into your stable coin in order to get discounts. And that buy-in is representative of your value as a creator that we can all track on the internet. It's like a whole new way of doing Patreon.
So I like where you're going. And I do think, again, not trying to oversimplify things, but maybe the biggest change with creator coins is simply move them from a speculative meme coin that doesn't have any value, no utility.
Turn them into stable coins, reflective of the creator's value.
Make it a real loyalty reward program, a real incentive, a real utility. Like, and I know, I mean, this reminds me of the conversation we had around brand coins. Like, I'm a big fan of Rect. I like how they're building. I like what they're doing. I also can appreciate, like Von Frutten's approach, where brand coins would make a lot more sense as a stable coin, where it isn't hyper speculative. And then I think, oh, well, how is the team or the credit? Well, they can make money off fees. They can make money off of selling the good, the product, the service for a 30% discount, but they're driving more volume because their supporters are, they're going to give them the business because I have these points. It's like everything we've talked about with, man, I feel like I might have to go back and read the Everything token from Steve, because I'm convinced that the next generation of loyalty reward programs and incentive programs are going to be on chain for so many reasons, a lot of which you just described. I'm not saying it's in form. I'm not saying it's perfect yet, but it's going to, I have a trouble seeing how it doesn't happen, because it truly.
Well, here's the thing that I didn't mention that I think is the secret sauce, and why I said that I think if Base goes this direction, they become the king made chain. So Coinbase has a feature that works inside Base already, where anytime you use a stable coin that's on their network and it's held in a wallet, not used, it's earning yield, which is gonna be the default, right?
Yep.
So like with a bank, you're not really earning yield unless it's a savings account. But if you put the stable coin for a creator that's native on Base app, and based on how you're holding that creator, you can earn variable yields. That is much more interesting than betting on the creator. So like, here's a cool example. Like, I see Eddie Nons, $Eddie, okay? Let's say Eddie is so good at DeFi as a DeFi podcast. He has a deal with Bank of America directly, where if you buy his stable coin, it is attached to Bank of America's native yield product that may be more competitive than another bank. And now you're earning more by holding Eddie rather than speculating on him. Like, that's a really fucking cool idea, instead of just trading on whether Eddie's gonna, do a somersault or not.
I wholeheartedly agree. And wouldn't that put a heck of a lot less pressure on the creator themselves, the brands themselves, because
It would motivate them to make better content, because then it's a game of who's going to get the best brand deals, which means the person who makes the best content is going to get the best brand deals.
yeah, and they're not, when the number goes down, there's a mass liquidation event on 1010 and the number goes down 50%.
No, you just stay even. It's like,
Exactly.
okay, you just pause in time. It's like, all right, well, these dollars are dollars, but this creator's kind of given up. Okay, I'm going to move my dollars into Eddie dollars instead of holding Jonah dollars. But it's not like, it doesn't mean the creator can't get those dollars back. It doesn't kill them forever. It's just a matter of people go where the momentum is.
Exactly. And it's comparing to the Web 2 world of my Delta Miles or any of the other traditional loyalty reward programs. I'm stuck in the closed ecosystem. Whereas here, like, yeah, maybe I just continue to support whatever Eddie's doing with his coin. Or if I said, hey, there's this other thing I want to move into, it's a click of a button, as opposed to
doing this also will make Coinbase over time one of the biggest banks in the world.
Yes.
Because if you have millions of creators that are not just banking with you, but they're a part of your banking system
Yes.
as a stable coin provider, it's very hard for other companies to try and take that away. Now, here's the cool thing. If Jonah stablecoin on Base exists and Robinhood wants to hire me, I can have a second stablecoin. It won't matter. Like, there can be infinite stablecoins around Jonah, like Jonah Robinhood, Jonah Base, Jonah YouTube. It doesn't matter, because it's based on who's providing the best deals, and it's all backed 1-to-1 by $1. So it's the same thing as switching from USDC to USDT. It's just a swap in a wallet. It's not, you're not losing money necessarily.
So talk through that one. In that, let's say you have a base Jonah token and a Robinhood Jonah token. As a creator, would you envision though that the perks are the same, the utility's the same? It's just, or no?
No, that's the cool thing, because it's competition. Because then instead of making it where you have to get traders to love you and compete with other people for trader attention, you're having banks compete for you and brands compete for you based on where the ecosystem of attention exists, which is exactly what exists today for YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Like, there's great creators everywhere. And so it's not about like, is the creator controlling the ecosystem? It's which ecosystem is providing the best search, the best commerce, the best video content, the best product features for creators to build on top of. And when you use that, where stable coins are that version, you get the same competitive environment where it takes the pressure off of the creator being a business and turns the ecosystem into the business itself.
Mm-hmm. So expanding on that, and you talk about the ecosystem, have you seen any of the takes about pairing these creator coins, whether it's stable and as you've laid out or the current form, with a quote unquote community coin? Have you seen any of these takes?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. You could just have competitive swaps. Like, these DEXs already offer that. I think Uniswap has different rates than if you did a swap on FOMO,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, just if you have a meme coin that's affiliated with the creator that has a stable coin, to just make a competitive swap. Or maybe when you swap, you get more meme coin, right? You get like actually more than what you had. So there's all sorts of ways you can play with it.
Yeah, it's exciting. And this is where it's not just on Coinbase. There's obviously there's several, but the reality is Coinbase is a leading entity in this space. Not just this space. They're one of the few that has broken into TradFi. They are a publicly traded company. Could this idea of creator coins, brand coins, let me ask you this. In the stable coin, the stable creator coin, do you still call it a creator coin? Do they have a branding problem? Like what, and especially if they go this different route, how do you differentiate the two? Like, it seems like half does one, six the other, but should they be called something other than a creator coin? Like what's your thoughts there? Any brilliant ideas?
I think the market will decide what the name should be.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing about, like, the trenches wasn't something that a business decided existed. The community of people who traded religiously called it the trenches, and therefore it is the trenches. It's the same thing as like someone on Twitter Spaces, I think it was Pete, said, "Oh, it's Thread Guy and Frank and all these guys. It's the LA Vape Cabal." Like, They didn't call themselves that. That was a name given to them,
Yeah.
right? So I don't really care what the name of it is. I only care about the function, because the function will define what the name is.
Yeah, I agree. And I also, Shane adds, I think some point stablecoins, as Jonah is describing, it will get overcomplicated. Like keeping things simple does matter as well. I just think in their current form, it just doesn't work. It's just broken. And I see a lot of people giving Brian kudos for getting in the trenches, and kind of like I'm not deep in the base ecosystem, the base community, if you will, but reading between the lines and just some of these feedback, some of these comments, a lot of the builders are frustrated because they feel like they're getting ignored, and instead,
Man, I have a hot take there.
Go for
Most of the builder, and I'm not naming any particular builder, but most builders who get ignored, the reason Coinbase is probably ignoring them is because their product sucks. Like, if we're gonna, let's call it a spade a spade. Like, and this is on every chain. And I'm not saying that my product's better. Just to be clear, my product can end up being dog shit. I can be a total failure, but as a founder, it is your fucking job to get seen. It is not your job to cry to your parents to get seen. And so if you're relying on Base to do the fucking discovery and marketing for you, then you're going to be a failure. Well, is Base supporting me? Would that help? Yes. But if Base is the only way I get discovered and I'm not doing the work myself, then I'm a fucking terrible founder and I should quit.
I hear you. I agree. Don't look at yourself before you point fingers at others. That said, in a competitive blockchain environment where block space has become somewhat of a commodity, is that also not
It is not that hard to get noticed as compared to your competitors. Everyone is doing the bare fucking minimum. Like, they're buying a Kaito leaderboard or a whatever the fuck, whack-a-duck, a Fi thing. They're doing Zeet. They're doing a couple of spaces, and they're calling it a day. Half of them aren't making interesting commercials, right? And I already know how to get those done. Half of them aren't like talking to people directly. Most of the founders are not coming on these spaces and getting grilled because they don't know how to handle drama. Like, again, spade to spade. They're just not trying hard enough. Like, now you can fail no matter how hard you try, but I've seen most of these founders that are complaining. I've looked at their shit, and all they do is bitch and moan all day. They don't actually make any sort of effort to try and get seen beyond complaining to their metaphorical parents.
Yeah, I agree. It is on the person. Like, don't expect handouts. However, if all things are equal and the builders are doing the right thing, is it also not one of Base's?
All things are not equal. The world, it's not how the world works. Like, it's not Base or any chain's responsibility to make every project succeed. The chain's core prerogative is to bring in as many users as possible based on the products they have at their disposal. So if that's football.fun, then fuck yeah, they're going to promote football.fun, which they clearly are. If that's virtuals, then they're going to promote virtuals, right? But if you're not bringing in users or you don't have the potential to bring in users, then how do I say this nicely? All right, I ran an agency, okay? Every chain has an internal tier list. It goes down the list of A to D, okay? And based on where your project is in that tier list is how much support they're going to give you. And that tier list is ranked based on how likely that you are to bring net new users to that platform or maintain the current users on a daily basis in order to keep them warmed up for the next business. And if you can't do either one of those, you're not going to get marketing, no matter how much distribution that exists on Base. It's just not going to happen.
Fair. That said, if you're doing everything you feel is right, you're crushing it, and you're not getting any...
define crushing it. And give me an example. All right, how about this? Give me an example of an app that's crushing it on revenue and users that a chain did not support in any way or didn't even like on their app. Can you give me an example of one?
Revenue and users the chain did not support. I mean, so that's the answer is if you're generating revenue, the chain is going to support you. That's
if you're generating revenue and users, and more importantly, more blocks for the chain to manage, you're going to get support. If you're not doing any of those three things, you're not going to get support. And that's not like just base. That's every chain to ever exist on the planet, because you don't put good money into bad money. It's just not how that works.
Fair. It's a good take. I can't dispute it. Would you agree though that some chains do a better job of supporting their
Yeah, of
builders than
course.
others?
Yeah, of course. Like if you are doing all the right things, making money or bringing users or creating more blocks to be filled on the chain in order to keep the chain running smoothly and pay validators, and you're still not getting support, then it's totally the chain's fault, and you should leave that chain, because you'll get much bigger offers from competing chains who probably will appreciate you. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I guess we spent more time than I was thinking about talking in base this morning, but this is what happens when you get a founder that gets in the trenches and is responding to critique. Like, he could have taken last night off and no one's going to notice any different. He didn't. It got attention. It's getting us to talk about it. And those people they engage with, the time that he gave, I'm sure they feel a little better about base today than they did, going into yesterday. Kind of a hard pivot, but you mentioned the InfoFi stuff. You mentioned Kaido in passing. I went to go check, so I'm going to go check the pre-TG leaderboard to see if there's anyone we're missing. And I got my CT wrapped, which, true story. I could pull out a screenshot to prove this. I suggested this exact thing to another brand in the space, and I said this would probably be a hit. If you haven't yet went and looked, you can do your 2025 CT wrapped. I guess this was taken on December 23rd, so it's slightly dated, like a week out. But Kaido and the team at River at Reach, big fan of those guys over there. It shows your smart followers. You all are smart, 2,800 of you, anyways. The rest, you need up your game. I've not been farming, so my all-time yaps are just whatever I get credit for. If it happens to be something they're talking about. Top topics discussed: AI, meme, and prediction markets. Surprised memes made it in my top topics discussed. I blame Fartcoin and Zane. 61 million impressions. I didn't get 61 million impressions. What do you have any idea what that's talking about, Jonah? I had 61 million.
Say it again.
My Kaido CT wrap says that I had 61 million impressions, but I did not have 61 million impressions last year. Any idea what that would be referring to?
No. The algo probably just didn't read it correctly.
I wish I had 61 million. If I had 61 million impressions, I'd be getting monetized. I need to up my game and get.
Are you not monetized on X?
No, I think the most I've ever got is like 3.5 million. I've never hit 5 million.
You gotta start causing some drama. You're not doing it correctly.
I know. I need to cause some drama. I need to play the reply guy game a little bit.
No. Fuck the reply. You gotta cause drama. You gotta say something that upsets people that they don't want to hear. I'm like a tier 1 pro at this. I gotta think of some things that are.
I agree.
Let me think of some things.
Von Frunton is my polite copywriter. Jonah, have you got any drama DMs, any drama posts I need to be getting out there?
What do you like to talk about? Because what I have to do is take something you like to talk about and make it controversial. What do you like to talk about?
I mean, everything here. The most controversial thing. But you're absolutely right.
Okay, all right. So here we go. NFTs are dead, and here's why.
Yeah.
That's one that would work. You get a lot of views on that. It should be an article, and then it should be like a gotcha bitch, and like midway through the article, and then you can say why you like it, so people still like you. InfoFi slop is good, and here's why. Because people hate InfoFi right now. Solana will have the lowest valuation in 2026 because they have like a hive mind. Anything complimenting Monad because they desperately want attention right now because they have a lot of users who are like, where the fuck is everyone?
Yep. I actually did compliment them yesterday on the show. My bold prediction was the mega ETH, breakout moment enters the conversation with the tier one chains. And by the end of the year, not immediately, by the end of the year, Monad makes a roaring comeback and surprises some people. I do think this, I genuinely mean that.
Well, then you have to, you're too nice. You have to turn it to why Monad will overtake Mega ETH. And then like you're gonna have two sides. Like the best type of content, the thing that always got me views on Instagram, which probably works here too, is creating a compare and contrast between two different sides of a similar ilk. And then by creating that dichotomy, hopefully getting those people on both sides of the civil war to fight against each other in the comments. And that's what creates virality.
Yeah, I agree. And like these tactics are all accurate. CryptoPain says, you think it's cute? I'll be writing articles. I need to write more. I realize this. Our long form articles seem to
don't write an article then. But here's the thing, if you want to get views from a short post, it needs to be the shorter the write up, the more dramatic it needs to be. The longer the write up, the less dramatic it needs to be.
Say that again.
The shorter the post, the more dramatic that post has to be.
Yep.
And the longer the post, the less dramatic it needs to be in order to get the views.
Yeah. And would you agree that long form articles seem to be the current algo cook?
For now, until people game it and then they change it to something else. So like, I would strike while the iron's hot and get it out there.
This is one I'm going to write today. 5 NFT founders that deserve to have their accounts deleted. Number 4 will shock you. I have a draft post on this, Zane.
There are women in your area who love your NFTs.
Dude, I had a post. I couldn't like this. I actually, not even joking. I'm going to read I couldn't bring myself to send this. I think it would have done numbers, but it was, I quote tweeted the draft, which I'm not going to send. It was Polymarket sent it out a week ago. It said Stephen Colbert is now #1 suspect on the Epstein files. 97% chance he's in them. My draft post that's not going to hit the timeline said, I'm shocked that number 11's on the list, even at low odds. And I was going to specifically tag someone like Frank, but I can't, like, it's just not in me to do that kind of stuff. But
it wouldn't work on Frank. It has to be on someone who's very reactionary. So like what I would put it on is the Compi Pandas guy, because he's very emotional.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Frank's learned that by not responding, people will stop making jokes about him. But the Compi Pandas guy is very reactive. So I think you have a higher than likely chance that he'll react and call you a retard or threaten to fight you, which is where you get views.
I feel like these are the kind of conversations I some days, like I've been doxxed from the jump, but there's some days I wish I would have just hid under the Anon. I wonder what my trajectory, my feed, my account would look like today had I been anonymous from the jump when I entered the space in 21. And
everyone is way too scared to be non-confrontational, but every time I've been confrontational, I've come out ahead and have done better for myself financially and career-wise. So maybe that's my personality, or maybe it's an over-dramified fear. And I think it comes from two things. One, people over-index their value in the world and think that when they post something, it's going to be very dramatic. Usually people forget very quickly. And two, that, people even remember what you said in the first place. Now, sometimes they will, or they won't remember why, but they'll say that you have bad energy. But more than likely, for every one person you upset, there's usually 2 other people you end up getting endearment from.
Yeah, well said. I agree. Before I take this off, y'all did better than you're leading on the timeline, because you're all worth at least 66 million on chain per this end of year CT wrap. So congratulations. Let's turn that north of 100 million, which I'm not going to go and say what it was pre last year, but I've seen one of these with a little bigger number before, but 66 million is still not too shabby. But Jonah, I think you might have just solved it. I think there could be a whole business model around here just fighting with you online. You're good at this. Easy to.
It won't work on me since I already completed my objective. So like I don't react anymore. I usually just mute them.
I mean, well, to be fair, I had you muted for the longest time as well. So I mean, we've come full circle. Now we can just we can go back and forth with our our rage baiting on X.
My objective has been completed. I have ascended this mortal coil, and
you're off
I'm on to bigger and better things.
You're off to the Instagram streets now.
Well, that and also just having to run a business. My job now this year, other than my Instagram and stuff, is to help other creators get big. I've already done my job.
So I do want to come back to helping other creators get big. I want to talk briefly about live streaming. We do, in all seriousness, need to have you on for a full sit down, full blown interview on what you're building. I know we've mentioned that a couple times in passing, but before we go to helping other creators, because there was another something else that was launched this week, I was curious if you played around with or saw your thoughts as well. Posted this. Actually, I haven't pinned it up top. I'll pin it up top now. Speaking of IG, pulling all this together, tying it all together, talking about helping other creators. You've had a breakout month on Instagram. We were talking. Quirky Quirk was talking about AI and what it does on chain. This is not a blockchain comment from the head of Instagram. But this is from the head of Instagram. So there's a lot more to this post, but the screenshot here, platforms like Instagram will do good work identifying AI content, but they'll get worse at it over time as AI gets better. Meaning they do okay today and they could screen for AI content, but it's going to keep getting better to the point where it's going to be very hard even for these platforms to identify what's AI and what's human created. He goes on to say, it'll be more practical to fingerprint real media than fake media. And my first thought is like, fingerprint real media. Wonder how we could do that. Sounds like a pretty perfect use case for blockchain tech, no?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe.
As someone who's focusing now on creating viral content on Instagram, growing your Instagram account, your concern levels, if any, for AI, we'll say AI slop or good AI overtaking you and other human creators on the timeline? Or is it anything you think about? How much concern or thought do you even give it?
I don't really concern myself with the tools too much, as rather the like I'm trying to think of a way to say this. I try to not overthink how I make my content on the day to day or what tools will change it, rather than once I have the fundamental tools, I kind of just spend time on the algorithm. I don't know where the chain provides value other than for like what we do. Like the core principle of the chain is transfers and payments, right? So like with us, the core value of the chain is just sending USDC, EVM, or SVM integrated tokens, and paying people faster and having it audited and having it recorded faster than if I were using a centralized entity, or more so cheaper, actually, like with a lot of our paymaster partners that we're working with. So, I don't really think about how the chain will make me better as a content creator. I just think about what are the fundamental needs that a chain can provide, in which case with like Base App, it could be rewards and commercial points. And with, live streaming and live frame, it can be faster payments for the real-time content that you're providing to a brand or to another creator. I'm not sure I'm giving you the best answers because I have to think more on it, but that's how I kind of see it.
Yeah. Payments, all that stuff makes sense. But don't you think that like just from a authenticity, like proving this proof of human, isn't?
I think people over-index that need. I think there are people who want human content, and that's why I think live frame is cool, because like live streaming is going to be the final thing left before AI takes that over in like a decade or so, or at least part of it. But you also go on TikTok, and there's a lot of people who love AI slop. I don't think people realize how popular AI slop is, and it's because like the average watcher. There's two types of watching. There's passive watching and there's like, intended watching. So like intended watching is, for example, I come to your space every other morning and I listen to what you have to say. I intend to come to your show to listen to you. But a lot of people are passive watchers, and these are people who are swiping on the timeline, are not looking for a particular creator, and are just trying to look for some form of entertainment.
Yep.
And there is a lot more passive watchers than there are intended watchers.
Mhm.
And your goal as a creator is to turn a passive watcher into an intended watcher. And I think streams do that very well. That's what I like about streaming. And I don't know if the chain will solve that necessarily.
Yeah, no, I don't know if it's the chain's responsibility to solve that, or should they, other than where they kind of could is this idea of a stable creator coin. And I don't know what that looks like. I need to put some more thought to it because it's all coming to be kind of in real time here. But the idea of how you can leverage your creator token to help convert that passive to an intentful listener. You know, how you can, the passerby who catches a clip, how can you use that as a hook?
Yeah, I think that's where this makes sense, is that like it's really hard to get more intended viewers. Like it's really hard. Like and the thing about that is it actually takes a few times in the algorithm before someone becomes passive to intended. I'll give you an example. There's a live streamer right now. This live streamer is the most popular in the world. His name is Mr. Peanut. Okay, and you go, what the hell is this guy? Okay, he's literally a VTuber dressed as a peanut who plays shooter games, and he was getting millions of views a month on TikTok, and nobody really gave a shit in a big way to watch him until there was a new game called Arc Raiders, which came out last month or 2 months ago. Okay, and through all that passive watching plus this very viral game, he grew a massive intended audience of 70,000 people watching his streams on any given time. Live watchers, not passive. And so it took probably like 10 to 15 funny clips until someone decided they watch him live. And that is like, that's the goal of how you get people to watch you and you become a celebrity.
And I wouldn't have guessed that exact number, but I agree. And we see it here all the time. Like we'll do we bring in the Klano's team to do a special guest interview. And yeah, maybe the first time they're on, we get a few new people follow me. Maybe one or two of them come back and listen again. Then the second time we have the team on, we get a few more followers. And then the next thing you know, the Klano's team's not on, and I see, half dozen Klano PFPs in the chat. Similar with Good Vibes Club. Like the more, but it is what I've seen anecdotally, but it's usually usually in the second, but it's down the road after they've been on it several times before they become a regular intentful listener. And candidly, we've not made that a focus or really an effort other than, hey, let's bring on someone reaches out. They would like to come on the show. Well, we have sponsored interviews. If you'd like a spot, you can get a spot as long as you're not doing something illegal or shilly. But if it's something that's a new community, if it's something I'm interested in, excited about, if it's newsworthy, we're much more likely to bring those people on. It does introduce us to a new audience, but I'm not naive enough to think that there could be 100 new people in here that had never heard the show before. I'll be lucky if some will follow, but to turn them in for someone who tuned in just for the special interview to come back the next day, it's usually the odds of that happening are much greater if it's the second, third, fourth, fifth time than the very first time they found the show. I'm sure it's happened. I'm sure someone came here, someone was a Unicorn Fart Dust fan, and we hosted Ron and one time, and they found us, they loved the show, and they followed and they tuned in every day since. I'm sure that happens, but to your point, more often than not, it's 10, 15, many times they've seen it. So I say we've never executed a strategy or something we've been focusing on. That's why focusing on repurposing our content, clipping more, getting out there for people who maybe they caught us on the show once and then they're not a morning person. They don't think about tuning into space at 8 a.m. But if they catch a clip in there as they're going through their brain rot and not listening intently, maybe there's something there that resonates with them. And I think like both from helping convert some of those listeners by getting in their feed more than just the one time they happen to stumble in here, and the monetization for there's, even if it feels like a little bit of work, we need to, this is one of the big things holding myself accountable to, and in Payne helping hold me accountable as well, is get more of our content, not just on this app, but others, because I think it is a long play. And if we want more regulars, more intentful listeners, I think that is the path to do so. Here's the question I want to have for you. I'm kind of putting you on the spot here because we've not talked about this. It's the other one thing I wanted to highlight, and we'll let everyone get out of here and enjoy the rest of your New Year's Day. You may view this as a competitor to LiveFrame. You may be working with them. I don't know. And I haven't dove deep. And I saw the video. I checked out the account, gave it a follow. That's where I'm at. Probably have Amy on here at some point. But I'm curious, did you see Amy launching Main Street Viral? She calls it a CRM for creator and brand deals that actually runs campaigns, not spreadsheets. Onboarded 53 creators, 5 million combined followers.
No, I know what it is. Not a competitor.
Is it what's your thoughts? Is this something like, so not a competitor, do you like, would LiveFrame something that you could see these like supplementing working together?
We do all the things that she said, but they're not a competitor. We're not a competitor because we have a proprietary algorithm, and again, like she's more focused on like video and tweets and stuff to be automated and automating through Telegram chat.
Okay.
We don't do. I mean, I wish I had more competitors, to be honest. I mean, we spent the last year building this algorithm. And so we have a CRM, but the CRM is only half of it. We have an AI that's managing our CRM. So we have the CRM plus an AI managing our CRM and doing the distribution. But yeah, we're not competitors. If anything, if she wanted and she felt she needed access to it, we'd let her white label our software. We already have other customers that want to white label our software, and we have our AI in the back end, so it doesn't matter to us. Our algorithm is more important to us than the CRM, if I'm going to be honest.
How do you think this all shakes out come fast forward January 1st, 2027? I feel like we went from crypto Twitter specifically, went from brand deals, KOL deals, agencies, to InfoFi had a real big moment at the beginning of 2025. It seemed like it was eating the lunch of all those agencies, many of the KOLs, and you could see their reactions on the timeline, either directly or indirectly, how they were responding to some of this. Some were just every day they were fudding InfoFi because, again, so in some cases I knew it was eating their lunch. I knew they lost some deals to this. In others, I think it was just they were concerned, kind of feeling like it's starting to shift back to agencies, customized stuff, and at least most brands realizing that just getting on an InfoFi leaderboard, that's not marketing. It's not gonna. Maybe it worked when there was only 3 leaderboards, but when there's literally hundreds of leaderboards and active campaigns across Zeet and Kaido and Cookie and Lurky, and there's just where do you think this nets out in the world of crypto Twitter, KOLs, agencies? Do you see InfoFi having another wave? Do you see more going back to more of the boutique agency route? Any thoughts, just high level, on what do you think we see? How do you think we see this play out this coming year?
They all have different roles. I think there's a misconception that this is why it's reverted back, that InfoFi is also an agency. It's not. InfoFi is good if you want general mind share manipulation on the timeline, but the best creators, like, they'll eat off of it, but they don't really care because the private deals just make them so much more money. So agencies are always going to exist in some fashion because it's for higher tier creators who don't need to eat off an InfoFi board. Like the best way to explain it is an InfoFi board is like a beginner creator.
Mm-hmm.
An agency is for an intermediate to expert creator. And then a platform is something for agencies to scale up those intermediate or expert creators.
Yeah, I agree. How do you think the InfoFi sites feel about that?
I'm sure they're building their own agencies internally as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think they lean? I've thought for the longest time that was the opportunity to miss is they like a leaderboard itself is not enough. Like they need someone actively managing their campaigns. They need to become kind of a boutique agency in themselves.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah.
They'll do it. They have no choice, and they'll do it. And a lot of the agencies are building like their own products as well. Like I still have my agency. It still exists. I spent the last year not really running that agency in order to build this product. But now that the product works and all we're doing is making sure our payment stuff works and then growing on it, I can really turn on the creator agency again and work with brands to, do the same thing everyone else has been doing. I just decided last year that it didn't make sense to really run the agency because I knew this was going to happen and I wanted to get ahead of it.
Yeah, well done. Congrats on the big moves. I'm excited to follow along and see what the new year comes for you, both on your Instagram journey and what you're building with Liveframe. In all seriousness, dude, let's pick a time here sometime in the next few weeks. Get you on and do a deeper dive. I'd love to.
Sure,
chat in more detail.
just let me know. Happy to do it and work with creators and see where things go. And I'm sure you have I will say the one thing that separates most people from the wheat and the chaff is a consistency. It's not intelligence, it's consistency. And I have to say, you show up here every fucking morning or almost every morning.
Every weekday.
It takes a lot of effort. I don't think people realize like how much effort that actually takes. Because I do it all the time. There's days where you feel sick. There's days where you're depressed. There's days where you have family or family emergency, and you still get up. You go, well, I'll take care of that, but I got to go do this one thing first. It's a part of the ritual.
I appreciate the kind words. It means a lot. Thank you for noticing. And yeah, that's my life hack. I'm not the smartest. I'm not the most intelligent, but I would put when I decide I'm going to do something, I would put my work ethic and my consistency up against anyone on the planet. I think that would hopefully be somewhat evident after quite literally not missing a weekday for 1,065 shows, whether it's New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, Christmas Day, like holidays included. We're here every day. And that was, would it be fine if I took a day or two off? Would, but it's become part of the show lore. It's become, I don't want to say it's a bit because it's not, but it is. It's same thing in my fitness and my health journey. Like I'm not the strongest guy. I don't go hard at the gym, but I'm consistent. I will keep going and not and create those habits. And it's funny because that was actually my GM post that I don't usually schedule posts. And for some reason what I did, I scheduled this for the other day and it defaulted to 2026. So it didn't go out. I couldn't figure out why I didn't send my GM post. So it's scheduled for 2026. So I resent it this morning, forgot that I had scheduled it, but it was basically, motivation's overrated. Habits win. And for me, the easiest way for me to create habits is just show up and do it consistently every day. So if it's working out, even if I don't feel like, there's a lot of days I don't feel like it, it's at least go for 20 minutes, move, be active. And it's easier to lose motivation. It's easier to break streaks or you go a week without working out if you take a day off and don't think about it. It'd be easy for me to take a week off of the show at the end of the year. It'd be easier to sleep in this morning after staying up way past my bedtime last night. But as soon as I do it once, well, the streak's broken. It doesn't matter if I take next Friday off because I'm going to be traveling. It'd just be easier not to do the show. And then the next thing, I'm going on vacation. I'm just going to take the whole week. Like once I take a day off, it's easier to. And again, this is just me. It's how I'm wired, but consistency does matter. And to tie this all back together to the year of TGEs, you don't have to be a whale. You don't have to have the most capital. You don't have to have the biggest connections. You don't have to have a following of 2,800 smart followers that have 66 million in non-chain net worth. You don't. But if you show up and you're consistent in doing these things, on being active, like if you just said every day in 2026, I'm going to do some activity on chain. I'm going to have one transaction at minimum every single day in 2026. And the other caveat is it has to be something that's pre-TGE that you expect a token to come. I don't care what it is. Hold yourself, like that's actionable alpha for all of you today. If you're getting started and there's a few people like, I don't, I might get peanuts from this. I don't have a lot of capital to throw at this stuff. I don't have a lot of extra time. Do one thing. Whether it's you pick 3 of these TGEs and you just rotate through it, or maybe you do all 3 a day. You can do more, but at minimum, if you just do one transaction every day in 2026 on a chain or a protocol that's pre-TGE, I'm not exaggerating. I think it'd be hard for you to do that and not find your way into at least an extra 10 grand this year. It may sound like a crazy number for some of you who've never seen an airdrop like that. I don't think it is. If you're consistent and you're holding yourself accountable, I'm gonna click buttons every day with intent. Don't just do it at random, but find a few things that resonate with you, some things you're excited about. I think some of you might be surprised at what fruit that labor can bear. That said, I got to appreciate the kind words, Osiris. I don't know if he was doing this as an accident, if it was one of those things where YouTube just did it multiple times, but it was important enough for Zane to drop this 3 times in the chat. So I copy pasted it right back at him. And if you're not familiar with Zane, an absolute legend in the space, when he says he's not doing himself justice when he says obviously bias based on the work I do with YouTubers, but it just makes sense. There might not be another person in crypto that's worked with more high level, like the biggest YouTubers in the world, no exaggeration, from Mr. Beast to Logan Paul to Gary Vee. Like, he's worked with the elite of the elite teams when it comes to YouTubers. Probably the most knowledgeable person in this space, certainly the most knowledgeable person that you could send a DM to and strike up a conversation with. But he says, as AI slop fills up short form algos, long form video and live streaming will be even more important. I hope so. I agree. I'm going to play the short form game because I think it's a necessary evil right now. And it just makes sense. We've got the long form content. We're not doing it right if we don't chop up that long form content and hit some of the short form algos. Attempt to at least get a viral moment or 2. I'm glad we did live streaming. That's probably, as I reflect on 2025, the best move we made at Coffee with Captain was turn the video on. It just opens up so many more opportunities for us to execute on these tactics. So shout out to Abstract for forcing our hand there. But I agree. Also, yeah, if you text me at 7:30 at night, you're probably not going to get a text back till like 4 a.m. the next morning. Von Prunton doesn't text me past 7. In that one transaction, if you're not sure what to do, just go buy 1 fart coin a day. Motivation doesn't work, habits do. No worries on the spam. I appreciated it. I thought it was a play on AI and slop, so it was well done, even if it was unintentional. AI is on your side this morning. And yeah, it is kind of crazy. I think we've been doing this for 1,065 consecutive weekday mornings, but we've only been on video for less than a year. I don't know everything. I'm not perfect. But barring travel or some technical issue, I'm going to keep turning the camera every day. Even days like today, I felt like my face was puffy. I needed to shower. I woke up a few minutes before the show. I'm like froggy voice. I threw some water in my face. I walked outside in like the negative 30 degree weather I have here and attempted to wake myself up. But it would have easily been a day where like, oh man, not only do I not feel like doing the show, I'm just tired. I don't feel like turning on video. I look tired. I mean, it's just not, I'm a very routine and habit driven person, and I value my sleep. I'm not complaining. I had fun last night and I'm here today. But my overarching point be it that we're going to keep turning on the video. We're going to figure this out along the way. I appreciate Jonah joining us. I appreciate Zane and all the time he shared, not just in the chat, but said some great advice, some conversations I had with Payne and we're implementing this stuff. Like, why would we not take some advice and suggestions from people who've worked with some of the biggest creators in the world? Also, to my point about how incredible the space is, think about that. Like, why create here? Well, one of the reasons is the people here are pretty incredible, not just from support and tuning into the show and the likes, reposts, the bookmarks, the engagement, like all that's awesome. It's hyper niche. Sponsors love it. Y'all are on average, or at least, I mean, some of those crypto punks are probably to keep Fission's point, like that $66 million is probably largely from a few individuals that are like 60 million of that. And but all that to be said, I'm grateful for all of you. Appreciate the people here, both on the support side as well as the advice side. And again, doing video for less than a year, we're going to keep doing it. And no doubt in my mind, while I'm not perfect, not something I'm an expert in, our learning curve is shortened significantly because the people here and the real advice, and from Zane to Jonah, just in the last, if you've been tuning in and you're thinking about creating content, seriously, the advice you've gotten in the last 2 days, it's very valuable. Like, some of the largest YouTubers in the world pay Zane to do this sort of stuff. And he's here in the chat just giving you free advice and alpha. Jonah's building a platform, having a lot of success, shares his time, telling you exactly how he's doing it on Instagram. KB, I appreciate the kind words. The quote is painful, and you're too kind, but I'll take it on a sleepy morning. We were going to let everyone get out of here, but it's a New Year's Day, and we got a wild Shiba King up here. It's been a minute, Shiba King. Hope you're well. Happy New Year's to you, and winding things down, but feel free to take it whichever direction you'd like. If you just want to wish Happy New Year, that's fine. If you want to get in on this comment on content creation and 2026, the year of TGEs, anything you'd like at all, GM, and thanks for jumping up.
Hello. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Is this thing on? Yeah. Happy New Year. Just everybody in the room, and it's been a minute since I've been in this space, so it's good to see you, and over 1,000 episodes, which is dope. And I just want to say I appreciate what you and everybody else that co-hosted with you and jumped on the stage with you throughout the year, because it's been such a weird year for us, crypto and NFTs, and it really feels like it's like, I don't want to say dead, but it really feels, I don't want to say lonely either, because we're all here, but it feels so different. And if it wasn't for you and a handful of my other favorite spaces, which there isn't many left, we wouldn't have the content to keep us going, right? So even though some of the content in this space, it doesn't really change like it used to week by week, but I appreciate what you've done the whole year, especially doing some of the video stuff. So I just wanted to say that. Shout out to the room. 2026 should be better. I mean, it can't be worse, right? Let's knock on some wood here. There's no one there. Relax. But yeah, we'll have to see what 26 beholds for Bitcoin and NFTs. But a good year ahead, I think. And I hope everybody had a good night last night and drinking water today. Drink water. Rehydrate yourselves.
Yeah, that's the other alpha. Caffeine's important, but make sure you get plenty of water, especially without drinking last night. That hydration is key. Thank you very much for the kind words. I do appreciate it. And we'll wrap with this one. Casey, or Icy rather, commenting on the head of Instagram's take on it'll be more practical to fingerprint real media than fake media. He says, I think it's going to be a major challenge. Verified accounts will be important. I think Elon was right. Boost verified creators. So, because there's a lot of AI slap in this part. With that said, just because the account is verified doesn't mean the content is AI generated. I agree. I think that's where blockchain tech comes in. He says people appreciate proof of work in the future. Behind the scenes, additional commentary, the making of content. With so much generated by AI, people will be less impressed with the content and gravitate towards proof of work for the longevity and the vitality of the content. One thing that I don't know if it was but I took out of there was behind the scenes, the additional commentary. Now I know AI could do this as well, but yeah, that's gonna stick with me today, thinking on the behind the scenes stuff, the making of. I'm not one who, if there's a movie, like I'm gonna watch the last episode of Stranger Things today. I'm not gonna go watch the making of Stranger Things. It's just that sort of stuff that never resonated with me per se. But when it comes to social content, brain rot or otherwise, I do think there might be something there in terms of, as AI proliferates more and more, AI content proliferates more and more, not just proof of human or proof of work, but how did you get there? How did you get to the, even if it is AI, I think that could be a emerging category just in itself of people showing how they got to the end result. Maybe not, but that just, again, that resonated with me. Appreciate the comment I see. She beginning, appreciate the kind words, and appreciate y'all being here on a New Year's Day morning. GM to 2026. Shout out to William and the Amazon team. Really excited to see what the new year holds. I said it too. I do think other side is going to surprise some people in 2026. Excited for many things, from mega ETH to new TGEs. And as Web3 Warhead says, the first move in 2026, go subscribe to Coffee with Cap. And if you haven't yet done so, head up top. I'm going to pin it all the way to the left, the YouTube link. If you've not given us a subscription over there, we'd greatly appreciate it. Stay update what we're talking about. You'll get the notifications for the shows, and let us know if there's something you see over there in terms of you like a clip, or hey, this was awesome, or maybe think about doing this. You're not going to hurt our feelings. In fact, we would greatly appreciate any and all feedback, the good, the bad, the ugly. All I would ask is, if you're going to critique, which I don't want a bunch of people just stroking our egos or laziness. If you're going to critique, all I'd ask is, okay, how could we make it better? What's a potential suggestion? What is a potential solution? What would you do if you're myself or Payne? No obligation, but I would love the feedback and the ideas for how we can continue to make things better. But yeah, shout out Web3 Warhead. Appreciate you. Go hit that subscription. We got to topple Sun fronting before the end of the year. So that said, also Teacher Katie, I've been in the DMs with fire ideas. All are welcome. Yeah, myself, Payne, hit either of us with ideas. We can't implement them all. We probably shouldn't implement them all, but we will listen to them all, and maybe an iteration or a derivative of an idea that we end up ultimately deploy. And we want to make the show the best, not just the show, but the other content you see on the timeline that comes from the show, enjoyable for not only all of you, but something that would be enjoyable for those that maybe aren't here yet, that aren't deep in the weeds. So thinking through a lot of stuff, excited for the year, and it's going to be a fun one. So again, enjoy the day, go get maybe a nap, some water, some coffee later, and we'll be back tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern time, like always. We'll wrap up the week tomorrow, and then next week really hitting the ground with the new and improved Coffee with Captain structure and some ideas. We'll this week being the New Year's Day and last Friday, kind of off to a lighter start, and we'll really get after things next week. So thank you all so much for being here. Hope you have a wonderful day. Hope everyone had a great New Year's Eve. Hope you have a wonderful New Year's. For everyone that has your football team still playing, good luck to all of you. And as Steve would say, hope you all have a wonderful day, everyone.
Thanks for tuning into Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin. We hope you enjoyed the show, and remember, nothing we discussed today is financial advice. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day.
Welcome to the future.